Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. Week 3 in the NFL is among us, and we're going to have to talk about it today first and foremost, because we have to remember this. Don't forget it at the start of each week. How is our score looking, Smokey?
Oh, man, I didn't make any ground on you because we
That's
tied
good.
last week. We had 11 each.
That's getting better.
Yeah.
At least from week
yeah,
one.
much better than week 1 for sure. Especially for me, I only had 6 in week 1.
I'll take it. Still a lead, but the overall is getting better. Gotta make up some more points this week, at least I'm planning to. Before we get into predictions, one thing, actually two things I kind of want to bring up, but we might get there during discussions anyway. Sam Darnold, man, the Panthers. If only someone had known right before the season. Like, I don't know. Like,
Is that your Josh Allen this year?
is he not? No, my Josh Allen's Justin Herbert. That's actually the second thing I was getting at, because Justin Herbert is a clone of Josh Allen in almost every way. But Sam Darnold, yeah, and the Panthers, yeah, 5-1 in the division. I put the bet down, beat the Saints once. They're going to drop one to the Buccaneers. I think I might be able to convince you that they'll beat the Falcons at this point.
Oh yeah, I think so. And I like it. Sam Darnold is looking great. He looks so much better. And why is that? Because he got out from under Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that Adam Gase is the death of a football player, especially on offense. So
Especially quarterback.
yeah, absolutely. And everyone who has gotten out from under Adam Gase has performed exceptionally well. Why is Adam Gase in the NFL to begin with? Does anybody have an answer for that?
That's a good question. But the potential has been uncovered. Hopefully for Sam Darnold, it keeps going that way like Ryan Tannehill did with Tennessee. They got some team building to do in Carolina. They're not there yet, but looking good. Speaking of the Panthers, starting off because they're playing Thursday night. Panthers at the Houston Texans.
And we don't know who the Texans quarterback is going to be. Tyrod Taylor is down. And
He's on IR.
They've already said that it's not going to be Deshaun Watson.
It's going to be Davis Mills. They'll start Davis Mills.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I think I would take the backlash and go for Deshaun Watson at this point, unless they're just looking for.
I don't think he wants to play.
Yeah, that's true. He really doesn't. But yeah. It comes down to that, though. The team is not good, especially without Tyrod Taylor. They're going to get blown out. This should be a good 25, 30-point win right here for the Panthers.
Okay. Oh, you are really believing now. I didn't expect you to come out so optimistic.
I don't think the Texans are going to score. Like, Davis Mills? Like, really?
Yeah.
You think they're going to put up more than 3 points in this game?
He's not horrible. I mean, I didn't hate him in the pre-draft evaluation. Of course, not a lot of experience, but could have been much worse. Like, I didn't have him too far behind Trey Lance, at least like starter quality wise. Of course, Trey Lance has a much higher potential. But if I had to like draft someone in April to start week 1 and only those two are available, I'd have flipped the coin.
What round did he go in? What, like fifth?
Like fourth round, I think. Yeah, he doesn't have the upside for sure. Not. And if I can develop someone for a year, I'll take Trey Lance. But he's gonna be maybe solid. He has a chance to be solid.
Maybe.
Being said,
yeah. he could. It could surprise everyone. I don't believe it right offhand. I mean, he couldn't beat out Tyrod Taylor, obviously.
Yeah, that is fair. I'm going to pick the Panthers as well, obviously. Leading into the show like that, can't pick against them. They're going to win the game, I think, on the road. Go 3-0. Potentially lead the division by the end of it, because the Bucs are playing a very tough game. And they're on their way to making all my prophecies come true, which is great to see. Good offense. Definitely like to see that Panthers win. Getting into the Sunday games, we got the Colts at Titans.
This is going to be interesting also. Another quarterback who is possibly out for this game. Carson Wentz has not one but 2 sprained ankles going into this game. Like that's crazy. Like it sucks to sprain one. He sprained both of them at the exact same time. The Titans look much better this week. They look more like the Titans we expected. They let Derrick Henry run the ball. Imagine that. You win if you let Derrick Henry run the ball. That's just how it works. Titans are at home. The Colts probably would be not favored in this game, even if Carson Wentz was in there, because Carson Wentz still hasn't gotten back to 2017 form or anything near it. I'm going to go with the Titans at home.
There's this motion of gratitude that I'm contemplating about implementing into my picks, which is whenever you beat an NFC West team, except for the 49ers, I'm going to pick you the next week. Titans clutched out in overtime. Didn't even have, like, I was thinking the Vikings might steal one from Arizona, but they blundered away. Titans came through strong, which was very, very good to see. Beat the Seattle Seahawks there in overtime. So they have very much earned my pick, my respect for them, and they're going to beat the Colts as well. Like you said, with Carson Wentz, so it's not too hard of a pick. Makes a lot of sense. I'll go Tennessee. Tank Bowl time, potentially, if you want to look at it like that. Falcons at the Giants.
Look, I'm telling you, I watched this guy play, and he's going to be good. If they could get this team on track, if they could get if they just had an offensive line, he would be great. I'm not talking about the Falcons because they suck all the way around. I'm talking about my boy Daniel and the Giants. And the guy, if you play fantasy football, this guy's on the waiver wire. Nobody believes in him, but he's putting up 30 points a game right now. I'm going to stick with him. He should have a huge game here. He should have no problem on the Falcons defense. This should be his best game of the entire season, in my opinion. Albeit the Falcons do pull out wins when they really shouldn't, but being a team like the Giants, they should easily get beaten. So I'm going with the Giants at home.
Wow, hey, it's very bleak sounding there. It could be a breakout game. Yeah, I like Daniel Jones a lot as well. He gets sneaky yards on the ground. A lot of people don't think about him as a running threat, but he certainly has that element of his game to him. Not a very strong team. We know that they should have won last week. It's Thursday night against Washington. They absolutely should have won. Did not take advantage of that team with the backup quarterback in because of a series of incredibly stupid mistakes. They ended up 0-2 in Washington. It's not looking that strong either, by the way. Kind of hard to pick this one. I do like the Daniel Jones idea, but I'm going to give it to your Falcons because just looking at competition, the Giants struggled and lost to Washington, but. I mean, if there's maybe one call that goes differently in that Falcons game, the game was close to being tied at one point. Of course, later on, you got back-to-back pick sixes, which kind of was a garbage time anyway. But we've seen that the Falcons can stick with the Bucs if stuff goes together, which, as you've pointed out, rarely does happen at the moment or these days for this particular team. But I don't think this team sucks. I think they're probably a higher quality roster than the Giants are, even though I like Daniel Jones. And I'm going to say they're going to come through this time. Veteran presence is going to pay off, and they're gonna win. I'll say they win at New York. So first disagreement there. Chargers at the Chiefs.
Who would have thought you picking the Falcons would be our disagreement? This should be an interesting game. Both of these teams are coming off a loss, which I told you the Chargers were going to lose to Dallas. I don't know why you didn't believe me. Good games, though. This should be a really good game. This should be a high-scoring, offensive, high-flying game here. Both of these guys can throw downfield at any given moment. Both of these guys can connect on long routes, and both of them are kind of lacking in the running back department, except for Austin Eckler, who is a good pass-catching running back, but not that great of a north-south runner. And Chiefs have basically the same thing going on with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Chiefs have more receiving options and overall the better quarterback. Yeah, you got to agree with that. I'm going with the Chiefs at home.
Okay, I will agree, but I will agree under the condition that quarterback is one of the positions with the smallest difference between those two teams. I think if you compare receivers, if you compare the defensive backs, and generally the offensive weapons, I think the difference between Herbert and Mahomes is smaller than in those units. Well, Mahomes is still, I'll have to pick him just because he's done it more, but Justin Herbert is clearly top 5 quarterback in the league talent-wise, and that Chargers Cowboys game, I could hold a 45-minute monologue, like dedicate a whole show to that, no problem at all. It's unbelievable of how much better the Chargers are, specifically quarterback-wise. And then, of course, Justin Herbert threw 2 kind of phantom touchdowns, which both got nullified on more than questionable calls. And some other general stupidity that ended up somehow winning the game for Dallas. By the way, last week after we had our Dak versus Justin Herbert debate, I put out a poll, as you saw. Put a poll on my channel asking if you could pick now, who do you start your franchise with, Herbert or Dak Prescott? The results are in, and I'm kind of shocked in like a very bad way. Justin Herbert 56% on 44% picked Dak Prescott, so it's very close. They're actually shocked. Very close together, which horrifies me. I
thought we would get like 75% Dak, man. That's
come on. I should have been 90% Justin Herbert. Anyone who's like paying attention will pick Justin Herbert. I mean, how is it even this close?
No, that's recency bias.
No. He's been better in his first NFL game last year against the Chiefs opening week. He's better that game than Dak Prescott has ever played football in his life, and he's never ceased doing that. I will stand with that. This guy is a unique talent, like once in a decade kind of talent, and he's playing against another once in a decade kind of talent. This is like the meeting of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. Like the only thing that could make it better is like if it was Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, or maybe Josh Allen. He really is all that. But Chargers have to get their game together for sure around him. I'm going to pick the Chiefs as well. They're just better in most positions. Didn't quite beat the Ravens. Some uncharacteristic mistakes there, but they should win this one. But it's a chance for Justin Herbert to show some heroics. If he wins this one, I'll meet you to strike a different tone next week. If the Chargers come in to win this, I need to make some concessions there. But we'll see. Bengals at the Steelers.
Man, the Steelers are having second thoughts about my prediction of having them basically dominate the division and go deep into the playoffs once again, because right now they're looking more like the Steelers of the last few games of last season rather than the Steelers that they should be looking like. That offensive line is horrible. And Najee is a great running back. There's no doubt about that. But he can't overcome that offensive line. And neither can Ben. Ben's he's getting beat up in these games. And he can't move like he used to. Not that he ever was completely agile and nimble. The Bengals, on the other hand, I think they're getting a little better with each game. I think Joe Burrow should put together a decent season by the end of the season, and he's not absolutely looking horrible right now. I'm going to stick with the Steelers at home because overall they just are a more talented team, and you can say what you want about the offensive line, but the Steelers should win this game.
It seems like forever, like 10 years and counting, that we've always been waiting for these Bengals to finally make the push in that division and finally like contest and play with the Steelers and Ravens and actually make something happen. It seems like it never really gets there, and that we keep picking the Steelers, and we still picking the Steelers. I'm picking the Steelers as well. I'll just take the experience there. You got just coaching wise, this is a complete mismatch, right? You got Mike Tomlin, Zach Taylor, who I don't believe in a whole lot. I mean, this Bengals team is fine, but I think in crunch time moments like this, you just have to. The smart money is on the Steelers to prevail with the veteran presence. And you've pointed out the weaknesses, and I'm sure once they end up facing stronger competition, we're going to see those exposed a little more. These like divisional games, especially against Cincinnati, I'm gonna stick with Pittsburgh with the smart pick. Bears at Browns.
Another interesting one. What was the health of Baker right now? How is he looking? We know that Andy Dalton is most likely not going to play at this point, so we're going to see Justin Fields come out, which I'm really hoping for. I'm excited to see this. I think Justin Fields can be great, and we're going to see what he does in his first game. He may not dominate in his first game, but I think he's going to get better as time goes on. Maybe Baker's going to be back and playing in this game. I don't know. I haven't seen the most recent updates at least. But the Browns are looking very mediocre at the moment. Even with Baker, yes, they put up a pretty good run. I want to say the Bears take this, if Justin Fields plays and not if Andy Dalton plays. You think it's definite?
Yeah, he's going to play. I think so.
All right, well, I'm going to stick with the Bears then.
The thing is, I'm convinced Justin Fields will play, and it's actually the exact reason that I'm gonna pick against Chicago here. Like, he can be great. Yeah, Justin Fields can be great. I don't think he can be great now, at the moment. I think we've gotten into this mentality so much of like this exciting new rookie quarterback comes into the league, and we want to just like move heaven and earth to see them play and go in and just start already. Especially if your starting quarterback is a little more shaky. I'm not a fan of this philosophy. We've seen it go wrong plenty of times, and we've seen the opposite work out a lot of the times. Think of all the great quarterbacks that we've seen. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, that are in the league still right now, considered some of the greatest of all time. They've all came into the league. They didn't start year one. What unites all of them is they sat behind a strong veteran for at least a year. I believe it's very, very important for young quarterbacks that aren't necessarily the most pro-ready, and some are more, some are not so much, and Justin Fields is not so much, to have the opportunity to sit for a season. Now, of course, he's going to be forced into it, and he's going to have to start. I don't think he's gonna light the league on fire consistently. The team is not an elite team. It's a fine team, but it's nothing special, and I think he would have done well to sit for a season. Now he has to start. I'll pick the Browns. More veteran presence, star power, great running offense, and they're going to limit Justin Fields' possessions with that running offense, and they're going to win the game at home. Ravens at the Lions.
This shouldn't be a contest here. It really shouldn't. The Lions are horrible, man, and Jared Goff definitely was a downward spiral for the Lions. They have one lone bright spot on that team, and that happens to be the, duo of running backs, because really Jamal and Swift are great together. They're a great tandem, but they have no momentum on offense. They have no momentum as a team. They haven't been together long. I mean, this is basically a newly forming team here with a new coach, and they suck. They just suck right now. The Ravens, on the other hand, have been together, and Lamar can will his team to win when he wants to, as we've seen. The Ravens should take this one easily on the road.
Yeah, not much to add. Totally agree. Lions are knee deep in a rebuild. We saw against the Packers, who are not by any means a very strong roster. Completely disintegrated there, and the Ravens win the game. That's all I have to say. Saints at Patriots.
And in years past, this would have been a great quarterback matchup, right? You know, the two of the top threes facing off against each other. But now we have Jameis versus Mack Jones, which I don't think either of these two are ever going to be in the top three of anything. Maybe Mack Jones was. Well, you know what? Both of these guys won national championships in college, but they neither one of them are going to be absolutely great in the NFL, in my opinion. After that first week, we thought that Jameis was turning it around. Maybe the LASIK worked. This game, he looked horrible, man. There was so many horrible throws here. With some of those you can blame on Marquez Callaway and things like that, but this team just doesn't have it together yet. That's very obvious when I thought maybe they did. I don't know really where to go with this. That maybe Bill Belichick versus Sean Payton is the key here. But you know what? I hate the Patriots just as much as the Saints, so I will pick the Saints on the road.
Wow, you hate the Patriots as much as a division rival? That's harsh. I cannot say the same. I do not hate the Patriots anywhere near as much as I do the division rival. When Malcolm Butler intercepted that pass on the goal line, I was cheering for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady to win yet another Super Bowl. Only because it was Seattle and because I got to see Pete Carroll's face after that play, and that was worth the entire season. And in this one, you know, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm feeling confrontational today. I think the Saints in Week 1 took advantage of the worst defense in the league, and anyone could throw all over those Packers. And Week 2, the real Jameis Winston came out, and the real Jameis Winston is Brett Favre with worse decision making. Like so many times the old Jameis came out where he walking sideways, falling backwards, just throws it up. I mean, just chucks the ball up into absolute nothingness. And chaos ensues most of the time. So it's he just throws up, someone's going to catch it, maybe not. That's not elite quarterback play. I don't think he's really developed into the consistent starter that Drew Brees was. The careful gambler in a sense. He's just a gambler. He's just a non-careful gambler. He throws it up. Mack Jones, on the other hand, he reminds me so much of Tom Brady. I don't even know how you can say that he will never be considered like a great quarterback whenever there's so many parallels to Tom Brady. I mean, non-athletic, kind of underrated, gets panned in the draft, and comes into New England and just does his job. And
the league
better
has
than
changed.
The league has changed, but you know who's still doing his job and still succeeding is Tom Brady in this league at the moment. And who's to say Daniel Jones can't do it as well? You don't have to be a top five talent as an actual passer. Just do your job as a high-end game manager. Get the team. You have the team around you. You've seen what that can do for a team like the Patriots. So I believe a lot in Mac Jones. By the way, so far, he's the best rookie quarterback in this draft class.
Ooh.
He clearly is. Is he not? Is Zach Wilson outplaying him? Trevor Lawrence? No. Yeah. He's the best so far. And of course, some of them haven't gotten starts, but
yeah, we'll see.
I'll take the Patriots to win. Cardinals at the Jags.
I will say this: it's going to take what Brady had, basically the best team in the NFL around him. Yeah, I know you can give Brady the credit for being a good game manager and being able to see defenses and whatever, but
I think Daniel Jones has all the tools that Brady also brought into the league.
Mack Jones.
Mack Jones, yeah. Daniel Jones too, actually. He's a good running third. Yeah,
but
Mack Jones.
Even so, Daniel Jones is the more of the newer prototype,
Yeah.
Whereas Mack Jones is the Tom Brady prototype. Mack Jones is more of the Josh Allen prototype than that, but. Cardinals and Jags. This one is another one that shouldn't be a test there. The Cardinals look like they're on fire. Their defense does tend to give up a lot, and they're going to have to reel that in at some point this season if they plan to go deep into the playoffs. But the Jags are possibly the worst team in the NFL right now. And speaking of new quarterbacks that need some time to get going, he's definitely, Trevor Lawrence is definitely going to need some time to work on this. I mean, he came into the worst team in the NFL. I mean, that was evident. That's why he is there. And he's going to be great. I really think he is. Even Andrew Luck wasn't great his first season. Even Peyton Manning wasn't great his first season. So he'll get it together. But right now, the Cardinals are going to dominate.
Yeah, Peyton was kind of great his first season. He was pretty good. Not up to that standard yet, Trevor Lawrence. But what a game this would be to have his breakout, right? I mean, against Arizona, who happened to be in the NFC West.
You're hoping.
I would not have an issue at all with him having his breakout game here. That goes for the entire Jaguars team. And I'm also kind of wondering how many losses it will take for Urban Meyer to pull a Bobby Petrino and go back to college like halfway through the season.
It's possible.
I mean, I never know. They should lose this game. I mean, Arizona has everyone, it seems like. I think I've said this before, but if you looked at the Pro Bowl roster from 2015, they're all on the Cardinals now. Like, every single one of them. DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, JJ Watt, Chandler Jones. Everyone's on Arizona somehow. And they have to win the game. I don't think it's kind of a David and Goliath sort of storyline here. Be cool if that Jaguars pulled it off, or at least showed up for a big fight. I don't see it. I'll take Arizona. Washington at the Bills.
Oh man, right in the midst of regression, Josh Allen is. Willed his team to win, or you could say that's the weapons around, but Josh Allen is definitely in regression. That's obvious by watching him play, and I knew it was coming. I think he's going to be able to pull out of it in the second half of the season, but not. He's going to struggle for a little while. It's just what happens after a season like he had. There's usually no way around it. I know very few quarterbacks have been able to get around that, but most of them do not. And it's happening to Josh Allen right now. Washington, on the other hand, with Heineke, is not very good in the first place. Although maybe Heineke even gives them a better chance to win. than with the beard, but I'm still going to stick with the Bills overall. I think the Bills are the better team when it comes down to position for position. The Bills are better, so I'll stick with the Bills at home.
Yeah, they're the better team. A regressing Josh Allen is better than the majority of NFL quarterbacks any day of the week, and he's gonna win the game. Bills are just a better football team, and there's no reason for them to lose at home, so I will take them as well. Jets at the undefeated Denver Broncos.
Been a while since you could say that, for sure. Broncos don't look bad with Teddy. Teddy looks like he knows how to manage a game. You know, he's another one of those game managers that we've talked about so many times. And the Jets, first-year quarterback, they're having a lot of offensive problems right now. They looked like the Jags did in that last game. I thought maybe they were going to be decent after the first game, but after seeing that game, it's just not in the cards for them this season. Maybe they'll get better, but they are the Jets, so chances are they will just be this bad now, later, and into the future. I'm going with the Broncos at home. They should win this.
Okay. Trap game. I'm going to say it. Trap game.
No.
Jets win. Jets win. I will take the Jets. And this one straight up. This is I just feel it intuitively. This is the game. Zach Wilson breaks out. The Broncos are it looks like such a blow, right? 2-0, 0-2. The Broncos are the shakiest 0-2 team, maybe aside from the Raiders, maybe more so than the Raiders. The Broncos are not a top 10 team, and
no,
they're
not at all.
One of the 7 remaining undefeated teams. They're not as good as their record was with Jets early on in the season. Zach Wilson has so much promise. He just had an absolute bottom of the barrel performance, which is excusable to a degree against New England because many quarterbacks have had that happen. Now there is a curse. Of course, the Jets organization is doomed. We know this, but I think Zach Wilson has enough talent for some flashes there, like Sam Darnold also did in his rookie season. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to pick just from pure intuition. This is the one where there's a little bit of a spark coming from the Jets. Zach Wilson beats Teddy Bridgewater. There's my upset pick of the week, I guess.
Yeah.
Dolphins at the Raiders.
I'm guessing we're getting Jacoby Brissett. I know they're saying that Tua's injury is not that bad and he shouldn't be out long. But I'm guessing this will be Jacoby Brissett here. And that team could not score a damn point with Jacoby Brissett. The Raiders, on the other hand, also 2-0. As a matter of fact, the AFC West has a better record, if I'm not mistaken, than the NFC West. Those two...
the same record.
Oh, same record.
NFC West has lost one game, and the AFC West has also lost one game.
Okay, I was trying to place where that loss came. All right, either way.
Chargers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I picked them
actually, they have a worse record because the Chiefs are also 1-1.
Oh yeah, that's right. They lost.
The NFC West is 7-1. These guys are 6-2. Scrubs.
But either way, the Raiders, maybe they're going 8-8 or 8-1, as you say.
8-1.
But right now they're on a roll, and dude, I swear. I don't believe in this, so don't hold it against me, but I swear people are already talking about the MVP conversation. And just like last season, just like every time the Raiders have a decent season, Derek Carr's name gets thrown in there. It's happening right now, and I'm going to find a clip and send it to you at some point. But right now, I got to stay with the Raiders because I think Jacoby Brissett is most likely going to start this game, and the Dolphins are horrible without Tua.
It's a bit early for MVP. I know people love talking about it. If I had to give out the MVP, like right now, you made me give it out. I'll probably flip a coin almost, like between Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, and maybe Derek Carr. But all of that's gonna change, of course, by the end of the season. Only 2 games so far. Yes, the Raiders will end up 8-1. That is true, but they're going to start it off by remaining undefeated. That's my pick. No Tua, or at least no safety or no certainty that Tua will start, means I'm not picking these Dolphins. Tua is what they need, the talent of Tua to put them over the top of average, decent, serviceable teams like the Raiders, who are competent but not fantastic. And the Raiders are going to go 3-0. to start the season. Now they're going to end up 8-1. I know that for a fact, but 3-0 for the Raiders to start off. It means some losses coming on later down the line, but that's okay. Seattle at the Vikings.
Well, Seattle was the team that dropped that game, unfortunately. But it
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Unfortunately for everyone except you. I don't know. Unfortunately for the Seahawks, for their fans, I guess.
They're not people.
Yeah, I still think overall they're a better team than the Vikings. I mean, you can say what you want about there being just one good member of the team or one good member of the offense, and that being Russell. But he also has some very talented receivers out there. Now, people love to point out their run game, but they don't have any superstars at running back. I'm sorry, Chris Carson is not a superstar. People like to point out that he is because he has work, but it's the offensive scheme that he's in. But that's my rant on that. Seahawks are going to go on the road and probably edge a victory out over Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. It's going to be close.
See, if the Vikings just won that damn game, no one would be complaining. I would just be picking them today. But they had to squatter out there. The Vikings are definitely a better team than the Broncos, and the Vikings are 2, Broncos are 2-0, and sometimes it goes like that, right? But I can't pick them to win here because I haven't seen them win yet. Like, Kirk Cousins has been looking good. Like, if his record wasn't 0-2, he'd be in that way too early MVP conversation because he's been playing fine. This is a really reasonably good team that hasn't produced a win. Could have easily won 2 games, ended up losing both of them. I'm really hoping this is where they get it together, obviously, because it's against Seattle. But I'll have to pick the Seahawks there. Russell Wilson, and you said those receivers are a real threat, and I think that's one of the weaknesses for Minnesota. They're consistently defending the deep ball, and their offense is not necessarily the most explosive in shootout games. So I will give the advantage to Seattle there, as much as I don't want to. Okay, this is the game of the week for sure, yes. Right here.
Yeah.
The Bucs at the Rams.
Speaking of that MVP conversation, really the entire NFL world, the entire NFL media, the analysts, everything, if you were to ask them who is in the running for the MVP right now, I guarantee you they're going to say 2 names, and that's going to be Tom Brady and Matt Stafford. And unfortunately, most of them are going to give it to Tom Brady just because he's Tom Brady. But Matt Stafford is so far, I mean, it's only 2 games, but so far having a career season right now. If he can continue this, if he can beat the Bucs, that's going to put him over in a lot of people's mind that this guy may actually be as good as we thought he was coming into the league. That, you know, the Rams are going to help him fulfill his potential finally, because the Rams are good enough to do that. The Lions definitely were never that good. The Bucs, on the other hand, are completely stacked. We've mentioned it 1,000 times, but I hate to see it because everybody thinks that Tom Brady is better than what he is because of the team he's on, and he's always given every opportunity. I'm going to take Matt Stafford to win this one at home, and I can't even say it's like a Super Bowl rematch because Tom Brady was with the Patriots when that happened, and Jared Goff was with the Rams when that happened. So, but this is the Super Bowl that should have happened in the past already, and you know, I think the Rams are going to take this one.
And Matthew Stafford would have won that Super Bowl, by the way, because the Patriots got nothing done on offense all day.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting parallel you point out. You got the quarterback who's like perpetually perceived better than he is as a player because of the teams he's on, and maybe the quarterback who's perceived worse than he is all the time because he's been on the Lions the whole time. But meaningful wins, that's the thing, right? That's always the number, like the sword of Damocles over the head of Matthew Stafford, that wins against playoff teams, and he's like the worst record ever against like winning teams. That's constantly like kind of hovering over him there, like a dark cloud. So that is a big challenge. Yeah, if he can win this, that is going to be a major step in his development, his career path. Not to mention beating maybe the best team in the league, certainly best defense in the league, to go 3-0. That being said, I'm hoping the Bucs win because the Rams are my division and I can't have any of it. I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay. I'm gonna be rooting for Tampa Bay. I'm gonna be cheering every single easy wide open throw that Tom Brady makes and every stupid Gronk touchdown celebration, as goofy as it is. I'm going to be cheering for each and every one of them because it's the Rams and only because it's the Rams. Hate me for it, but that's what I have to do. Buccaneers win. And we have the Packers at the Niners.
Why do I feel like this matchup right here is becoming a rivalry? And why does it feel like it's happened 6 times in the past 3 seasons?
Because it has. It's happened like it's happened a lot recently.
Yeah, it's like they force them to play during the regular season each year, and then they play again in the playoffs somehow. But yeah, this comes down to Shanahan versus Rodgers, basically. Shanahan, I don't know how he's going to continue to run the ball when he's down to practice squad guys for other people's teams. They signed a guy from the XFL. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but man, the Packers have looked great. I mean, the 49ers have looked great, and the Packers so far have flip-flopped, and I guess you could call that mediocre because they looked great this week. They looked horrible the first week. 49ers have looked great both weeks. But since I know you're picking the 49ers, I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to do it one more time.
Fine. I know you're trying to trick me into something here. I see what you're doing. So I'm not going to change my initial pick at all. Yes, the Niners running back core is going to this is week 2, and I told you this couple days ago. I said we've had 2 weeks of play, and all 4 running backs in the 49ers roster are now injured, which is of course not great because that's the strength of the offense, and they need to have a rotation of running backs. So what they're likely going to field hampered Elijah Mitchell, who's a rookie, by the way. They're going to field Trey Sermon, who's a rookie and also probably still seeing stars, and they're going to feature a running back from the XFL, played for the Tampa Bay Vipers. That's going to be the running back squad, and they're going against Aaron Rodgers. That being said, now the Packers team, aside from Aaron Rodgers, is horrible. So I would not be surprised if there's 200 rushing yards coming out of the 49ers because this defense is complete garbage. I mean, I'm not backtracking on this at all. The Packers are the worst team in the league since Aaron Rodgers. That's a very simple, or not fact, but very strong opinion of mine. I believe they are the worst roster in the league. If Aaron Rodgers is not their quarterback, they have the worst record in the league. And we saw last year, Aaron Rodgers played with a very similarly bad roster, the 49ers, and soundly beat them when the entire team was injured. But remember, a year before that, both in the playoffs and in the regular season, the Packers got completely ran over, overwhelmed in every aspect of the game by this team when most of them were healthy. Now we're kind of at the middle ground here. A lot of the players are healthy, a lot of them are injured, and Raheem Mostert, notably, of course, who completely torched the Packers in that playoff game. He's not going to be playing, but I think the quality on the roster is still too high. Like, Niners are better on at every position except quarterback. That's the case most weeks, but I think they'll have the chance to overwhelm the Packers in enough areas of the game to render Aaron Rodgers' efforts pointless. And so I'm gonna pick the Niners. You kind of called it. Yeah, I did. Of course, I was gonna pick them.
Yeah, I gotta unpack though before we move on.
Right.
The receiving core. You can't compare Devo to Devontae Adams. Devo is not on the Devontae Adams level. Devontae Adams is elite, top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, and has been for the better part of 6-7 years now. But yeah, I guess if you want to throw Ayuk in there and the other options, I don't know, man. Because, yes, the Packers only have 1, but that 1 is phenomenal compared to Debo, which, he's a decent guy, great SEC guy coming out of South Carolina who was highly drafted and has been very, very usable in the NFL. Don't know that you can compare that to Devontae Adams.
Man, okay, let me visualize it like this. Just imagine the rosters, switch them. Debo and Devontae Adams, switch them 1 for 1 and play the rest of the season. I believe people will consider Debo Samuel as the better receiver. Ooh. Just because he gets thrown to by Aaron Rodgers, and he'll be the focus target of this offense. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but Devontae Adams is one of the most overrated players in the entire NFL. He's never been a top 5 receiver in his life, and the only reason people consider him that is because Aaron Rodgers is throwing him the ball. And
he's been the number 1 receiver multiple seasons.
But he's the only capable person on that offense, and he's not great. He's good.
He's
a good receiver.
He's great.
He's all right. He's great in the same way that Julian Edelman is great, in that he does his job well, and he's this guy's favorite target, right? He's great in the way that Jarvis Landry is great.
Are you saying that Jordy Nelson wasn't great?
Yeah, Jordy Nelson was. That's actually a good comparison. Yeah, Jordy Nelson's similar vein, but Devontae Adams is not Julio. He's not peak Antonio Brown. He's not in that class. He's in that second tier.
He's more like
he's never been
a Tyler Lockett who can produce like Julio. You know, he's not the big physical Chase Claypool, AJ Green, Julio Jones. You know, he's not that prototype. He's built more like a Tyler Lockett or Ridley, Calvin Ridley. You know, he's like on that level, but he produced, or an AJ Brown. AJ Brown was a smaller guy. He wasn't one of the big dominant physical guys, but he produces like an Antonio Brown or even like a Julio, even though he's a different body structure. I don't know. I guess we'll find out next season unless he goes to the same place that Aaron Rodgers goes.
That's what I'm curious about, because I don't see him being a top 5 receiver without Aaron Rodgers. He's the best receiver on this team, but the reason that his numbers are what they are is because he is a necessary consequence of what this team is, which is to have the single most talented quarterback of all time, and whenever he has to throw the football, which he does better than anyone else, by the way, ever, this is the one guy that he's gonna go to, because it's the one guy that he can semi-rely on doing. So Devontae Adams' performance is more of a forced consequence than it is a display of his, or a mirroring of his actual ability, like it was, for example, with Julio Jones in Atlanta, or Antonio Brown, or many of the other greats. I know I'm not making a lot of friends with that pick, but Devontae Adams, to me, he's in that second tier. He's not in the top tier.
Wow.
He's second tier. He's in the, as Skip Bayless likes to say, the Hall of Very Good, but not the Hall of Fame. And his career is made by Aaron Rodgers. To what it is. He'd be good other places. He'll be good other places, but he'll be the like for in fantasy terms, he's a wide receiver too. Without Aaron Rodgers. Without Aaron Rodgers.
And actually, he was still a wide receiver 1 with Brett Hundley.
For how many weeks? And still the only possible target in that offense.
Well, you can give him that he was still the number 1 target in the offense, even with a second-rate, third-string quarterback. I mean, where's Brett Hundley these days?
He will most certainly get some time in his career playing without Aaron Rodgers, because he still has a couple years ahead of him, and Aaron Rodgers might leave the Packers anyway. So then we'll be able to tell. But that's my projection there. Niners win. And then we have Monday night, obviously the all-time classic, the one that everyone is told by the media to look for, but no one really does because they both suck for the last 10 years. Eagles at Cowboys.
Oh, man. Speaking of wide receiver 2s, the Cowboys have 3 of them, which, if you think about it, is probably better than having that one Julio, that one AJ Green, that one Calvin Johnson. If you have 3 Devontae Adams, or Calvin Ridley's, you got options all over the field. And that's why Dak wins. That's why Dak has the numbers he's had. And without Dak, the Cowboys fall apart. And, it kind of made me sound like a Cowboy or a Dak Prescott lover. And I've never been huge on Dak Prescott. Although I will say that I'll take a SEC quarterback over a Pac-12 quarterback any day of the week. But that's neither here nor there. Cowboys should easily take this divisional game at home, unless the Eagles find some way in Jalen to run all over them with quarterback runs. I think that's the only shot they have at winning this.
I'll say this. So two things. For one, let me address the Eagles first. I think their defense is incredibly strong. They're a capable team. Jalen Hurts is definitely the sort of the focal point there. They're going to live and die by his performance. They blew the game. I mean, the Eagles threw away a win. They might as well be 2-0 right now, and they cost themselves with just stupid mistakes, horrible penalties. They could have easily won that game. On the back of their defensive dominance, ended up throwing it away. Dallas and the Dak thing, man, the Cowboys collapse without Dak Prescott. I cannot sign that statement. I think I should develop like an index, like some number that tries to indicate how important a quarterback is to their team, and it's based on like how many other quarterbacks could he be replaced by without the team collapsing. So like how many quarterbacks could you put on Dallas in Dak Prescott's stead?
Well,
and
quite a few.
For them not to get worse, for them to stay just
quite
as
a
good.
few. Now, like I said, I'm not like just trying to defend the Cowboys, or not trying to defend Dak Prescott himself, which is defending the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones loves that guy. It's ridiculous. But my point being is that most managers in the league are going to take the proven commodity over the unproven commodity. That was my whole point with the deal anyway.
That's true. And I'm not disputing by any means that he's a much better quarterback than Jalen Hurts and forever will be. That's very much true. He's not really like, again, this is a tier thing, right? He's not a top tier quarterback. He's in the second tier.
Yeah.
And of course, the main point I was making the past 2 weeks is that Justin Herbert is, if not already in the first tier, he's knocking on that door. That only about 4 to 5 quarterbacks are in each week, and Dak Prescott will never be knocking on the door. He'll never get close to it. That being said, though, I really don't know what to think of this game, because both teams are okay. Both are not great. They're all like candidates to go 500. Eagles have a strong defense. Cowboys better on offense. You mentioned the weapons. I'm going to pick Dallas simply because they're at home. And that's the only reason. Because I think this is such an equal game. To me, this is not clear at all. I think those are very, very equal teams. I think it can come down to the final drive, final score. And Dallas had, by the way, again, Dallas might as well be 0-2. They had no business winning. In fact, I'm talking myself into picking Philadelphia now, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to not think about last week anymore. Because the Cowboys won with a worse performance than the Eagles lost with. So if the NFL were fair, this would be a 2-0 Eagles team and an 0-2 Cowboys team, which makes the thing look a whole lot different. Actually, the Eagles are better than the Cowboys, aren't they? I'm going to pick Dallas. I'm going to stick with Dallas, and maybe I'll eat my words next week, but I will say very, very equal. Not a great division at all. But that's covering all the games for this week. You got any preview for us in the fantasy world?
Yeah, it's week 2. So the topic of this week is stay the course. It's not time to bail out yet. We have to just stay the course because proven commodities will come through in the end.
So you're saying you don't want me to like drop half my team and then sign rookie wide receivers all over? Okay.
I mean, week 2 is worse than week 1 because week 1 people start dropping like big names. Week 2, if you see like a Zeke that doesn't produce in 2 weeks, that name will hit the waiver wire. Yeah, and that's where you swoop in and get them.
Hate to see it. Well, everyone's looking forward to the Hurry Up Offense coming up. Fantasy football advice in 10 minutes or less on this channel. Later today or tomorrow, but definitely in time. For NFL Sunday, so you know what to do with your fantasy lineup. Not working for me so far. I'm 0-2.
Oh.
But I always had crippling injuries. Of course, Raheem Mostert week 1 scored 2 points, got hurt. Started Tua week 2, scored a point, got hurt. Bad days. My opponent had Derrick Henry. Not good. I also sat Mike Evans in favor of Laviska Shenault because I felt smart. Mike Evans didn't get any targets. I was like, he's not going to get... There's too many weapons. Brady just wants to throw to Gronk all day. Mike Evans, he's not on the hot streak again. Suddenly, he's the focal point of the offense again. So, Laviska Shenault obviously scores 2 points. Hopefully, I can bounce back. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, thank you for watching, everybody. We're going to be back with like I said, with the hurry-up offense. And other than that, with the next scoreboard next week. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.